Good evening and welcome to the broadcast. I am Emmanuel Oma, and today we're going to speak about the economic empowerment in Luo Nyanza, as the Nyanza region, especially Siaya, Kisumu, Migori, and Homa Bay, have they harnessed their full potential, and if not, what can we do to expedite that? Joining me in this conversation is Mr. or rather Honorable Ogindo, who was the Member of Parliament of the former Rangwe constituency, which has now been split into Rangwe constituency and Homa Bay Town constituency. Thank you so much, Mheshimiwa, for joining us today.
Thank you, Emmanuel.
It's good to see you today.
Good to see you too.
Yeah, that's nice. So we are talking about the economic empowerment of our people. Do you think that our resources have been harnessed to their maximum potential?
I don't think so.
Why?
To harness a community's economic potential, a number of things come into the interplay. Key among them is the leadership of that community. Number two, the human resource within that community. Number three, the natural resources around or within that community. And number four, the political climate within that community. And number five, the culture of that community. So all these factors come into the interplay. If I start with the first one,
yes,
I want to say that there are times that we've had good leaders among the community. And by the way, development is a function of time. Development does not take place overnight. Development is what you feel cumulatively after 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years going forward.
But we have been, today is 60 years post-independence. What's happening?
Correct. So 60 years after independence, there are times when we've had good leadership. There are times when we've had representation without leadership. And most of the time, during those periods, you don't realize much progress in terms of development. And our region has always been characterized by opposition politics. But I can tell you, between 1963 and 1992, we experienced good political environment because we were under single party, so we were not discriminated against. And around that time, the contribution to the GDP from Nyanza region collectively was about 18% of the Kenya's GDP. And that was huge, which means there were economic activities taking place in the region. In terms of development, which most people take to mean the amount of government investment in the region, we didn't record much. But by the standards of the national development levels, we had our share, I must say, because we could see that there were institutions that were built in the region. We could see that there were few roads which were poor, but they were there. We could see that the hospitals were functioning to help the development of human resource.
But when we talk about, for example, the infrastructural development, especially in Luo Nyanza, as currently constituted, there are no much. For example, there are no much, for example, with other parts of the country. Other parts of the country are quite much developed. When you talk, for example, roads, if we have bad roads, therefore we want to have the economic impact is huge, especially downwards, correct? But now, since we had some kind of good political climate post-2018, and now come 2023, right? Do you think that this good political climate will enhance some kind of infrastructural growth in Luo Nyanza especially?
Let me take you back and take you to the Nyayo era.
Yes.
I want to avoid the Kenyatta era because that one is a little bit obscure to both of us. But the Nyayo era, I know you are not very familiar.
I am.
From 1992 to 2002, when the multi-party was introduced, the Luo community were largely in the opposition. And the president, Daniel Arap Moi, came up with a mantra that siasa mbaya, maisha mbaya. And we experienced it. We were marginalized, and we were hugely marginalized, including not only were we denied what we deserved, but what we already had was also taken away from us.
But the leadership at the time will at least have negotiated with the president.
But the community was condemned as one, being in the opposition. So that gave us a bad name, and we were chased away from the mind and the psyche of the government or of the administration of the day. And we really paid a price for it. And time once lost will never be recovered. But fast forward, we now saw the administration that followed Moi's administration, which was Kibaki's administration. And as luck would have it, we got into government together with the Kibaki administration under the NAC
emblem.
But it was called the Grand Coalition, where Raila Amolo Odinga was the prime minister. And with that, the community was taken to be part of government, and we started seeing some development.
But the Grand Coalition came in 2007, not 2002.
No. Kibaki came in when Raila declared Kibaki Tosha in 2002.
Yes.
And that Kibaki Tosha statement gave us goodwill in government. And if you remember, when the cabinet was formed, a number of Luos were part of that government. And we felt warm in government. It was short-lived because soon thereafter came the referendum that again, 2005, we went separate ways with the government. Kibaki went for yes, and Raila and his team went for no. And thereafter, we lost the goodwill of government again until 2007, when we went to election, and government of Grand Coalition was formed.
So you're basically saying that if you are in the bad books with the government of the day, your community will be marginalized at the time?
Yes, because the level of our development as a country in Kenya, we are called a nation, but we are not yet a nation. We are a conglomeration of nations.
Yeah.
So when a given nation is in power, the rest of the nations are marginalized. And again, government is made up of people. We have institutions that should work impartially for the entire citizenry, but we are not yet there.
We are not yet, but now post-2010 came devolution. This simply means that every county is responsible for its own development. Is Homa Bay developed?
I was in Parliament when the new constitution came, and I cleared my mind that the jewel in that constitution was devolution. Of course, besides the Bill of Rights. And we celebrated that for once we have power, we have resources, and the constitution was saying that the purpose of devolution is to ensure that our people can govern themselves, plan for themselves, and implement for themselves their development priorities. But like I said before, the development of a given people or region or county is a function of leadership.
So
And there are occasions that you can have people in the positions of leadership, but they are not leaders. So you squander that opportunity. And I think much of it has been squandered.
because I am trying to take a look at this, there are numerous corruption scandals that have been associated with the leadership of the county governments, especially Homa Bay, Migori, Siaya, and Kisumu. Does it mean that we have devolutionized corruption?
The simple answer is yes.
Why should we do that?
Because we don't have leaders. The person,
But they are elected by people.
those are representatives.
Okay.
The person who should stand watch against the misappropriation of devolved funds is the county assembly. And with multi-party, each and every governor gets into office with a team of his MCS. And with the nature of our politics, most of those MCS get their ticket courtesy of the governor. So it becomes very hard for the MCS to remember
Party
their
tickets,
functions.
just to be clear, party tickets.
Yeah.
Not...
Yeah,
okay.
party tickets.
Okay.
And the way our politics is organized, once you get the regional party ticket, then you're as good as elected. And they owe it to the governor, and by extension, to the ruling party in that region. And you don't want to go against the grain. So they flow along as the resources get looted.
So when will there be some kind of a radical change? Because it cannot be all doom and gloom.
Our hope is in the Gen Zs.
What do you want?
We hope the Gen Zs are going to have an impact in the next general election so that they can help put in place of leadership true leaders. And who are true leaders? I mean, if you were to exhibit leadership, you must be able to demonstrate that you have a vision and you are capable of putting up together a team, and the team is able to generate strategies of implementing that vision, and that vision must be grounded on the aspiration of the people that you lead.
So, Honorable, you're not a Gen Z yourself. Currently, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission has an estimate that at least 5 million Gen Zs will vote in the next coming election, and you come from Homa Bay County. Now, let's take Homa Bay County specifically as an example. What will you do if you were to be elected? Of course, you have not said that you want to be elected, but if you were to be elected, what will you do in Homa Bay County to make sure that Homa Bay County harness its full potential and elevate its people economically?
Probably before we go to what I will do if I am elected, I have been elected before.
Sure, yeah.
And maybe to understand, we need to look at what did I do when I got the chance. And I want to enumerate about 4 things. Number 1, I realized that the people of Rangwe needed leadership. And I felt that I was inspired enough to provide that leadership. Number 2, I thought it in my mind that it is important that I unite the people of Rangwe constituency. And under my leadership, the people of Rangwe constituency were united. And I created forums for consultation so that every time we were making arrangements to implement programs, there were programs that were generated from the community. And I think that is very, very important. And when I became an MP, we agreed with the people of Homa Bay, Rangwe constituency, what our priorities were. And most of the priorities that we identified were impactful to the larger Homa Bay County. One of them was Homa Bay County and I represented Rangwe, specifically Rangwe, did not have a university.
So Rangwe and Homa Bay town.
Yes.
Yes.
And I made it my priority to ensure that a university is realized. And today, as we speak, we have Tomboya University in Homa Bay, courtesy of the efforts that I put. Number two, I realized that Homa Bay was far from civilization. And people in terms of communication. And people who wanted to come to Homa Bay were reluctant because the journey on the road was too long, the roads were poor. So I thought that it is imperative that we create an airstrip. And we had an airstrip that was dilapidated in Kabunde, in Homa Bay. And that airstrip was rehabilitated, renovated, and today we have seen the impact. The president has been to Homa Bay many times because of the convenience of landing and taking off, so that he doesn't waste his time. He uses his time productively.
But even in Kisumu, there's an airport.
Yes, but I represented Rangwe.
Okay.
So I was to bring people closer to Homa Bay, and that was the whole essence. Number three, I realized that for development of Homa Bay in terms of investment industries, you needed to have clean water. And when I was becoming an MP, the water in the Gulf of Lake Victoria was all muddied, courtesy of the causeway that was built in Beta. So even though I was representing Rangwe constituency, I knew that causeway was impacting in my constituency. So I took the initiative to demolish that and put a bridge. And today water is flowing freely, enhancing environmental conditions, flora of fish, and clean water in the region, readily available for any industrial investment that you want to do around the lake.
So these are some of the things that you've said you've done.
Yes.
So what if you're given a chance? What will you improve on?
Do you come from Homa Bay?
I don't come from Homa Bay myself.
If I'm given a chance, I have a lot more still to offer. It depends, I'm given at what level.
Now let's say, because we are talking about harnessing our people's potential. Now, everybody living in Homa Bay County.
Everybody living in Homa Bay County. If I am to be given leadership in Homa Bay County, then first of all, I will bring to the table the human resource in Homa Bay County and ensure that they are well mapped out in a manner that can contribute to the development of Homa Bay County, number one. Number two, I will map out the resources in Homa Bay County that requires exploitation for the benefit of Homa Bay County.
So some of these resources are examples.
Huge. First of all, we have the lake. That's a huge resource, both in terms of fish and water, communication, tourism, and so on and so forth. Like right now, the way we are making use of that water is not sustainable. The wild fishing where everybody is jumping into the lake is not sustainable. We must demarcate that lake in a way that can be able to generate fish enough to feed the people and generate income for those people who are trading. Number two, there are a lot of natural resources in Homa Bay. We have gold, we have rare metal, we have iron ore, we have
sweet potato?
We have sweet potato. No, that's not agriculture. We have cement. A lot of this, if you create a conducive environment, you can bring in investors to start exploiting them and develop the area. Number three, agriculture. There's a huge potential of agriculture in Homa Bay County. We have a fertile land, good climate, and good rainfall. if we embark on the key agricultural products that are there in our region, we will do it. Remember, at independence, it was planned that the cotton hub was to be in Homa Bay, and we took off growing cotton in Homa Bay until 90s, when Kikomi was closed. And there's a still huge potential of cotton as a cash crop. And the demand for cotton world over is huge. And the return on cotton is also big. If we can provide leadership to the ground so that there is uptick of the harvested cotton immediately and it is paid immediately, then we will be good. There is sugarcane. There is millet. Today, Kenya Broad is trying to contract millet farmers. Everybody in each and every parcel of land will have something to do. What we need to do is to make that process easier through use of mechanized farming and ready market for the farm products.
Oh, you have numerous very good visions for Homa Bay County. Now I want to take this conversation forward. Kisumu is the most industrialized town in Nyanza region, right? But at 9 p.m. the economy is dead. Everybody goes away. Why?
Because it is not industrialized.
But it's the most developed town, at least in Luo Nyanza.
Kisumu is the biggest town in Luo Nyanza. But we have not had money in Luo Nyanza. What drives economy is purchasing power. And the purchasing power of Luo Nyanza is down. When you look at towns that have big purchasing power, if you go to Thika, you will see town with big purchasing power. If you go to Kiambu, if you go to even Kitengela, even Machakos, even Nakuru, you will see towns with big purchasing power. So the absence of purchasing power makes towns close early because there's no spending power. So that's why when you go to Kisumu, apart from drinking sports, you cannot even take tea. You cannot eat. And you cannot buy anything. We need to work hard. And I'm happy that today we have a good political environment and we have goodwill from the current president, President William Ruto, that has shown light in the hitherto neglected region of Nyanza. And a lot of things are happening. You see, communication is good because it brings more people. And when those people are brought in, they start spending. Communication is good because it enhances trade. When more people are doing business through trade, they generate more money. And the goodwill is good because everybody feels encouraged and there is peace now in the region that can now allow investment from foreign direct investors.
That's good. And you realize that some of the functions that were devolved to the county governments, one of them is healthcare. And there have been a lot of strikes, especially clinical doctors, clinical workers, especially in Homa Bay, I think. And you ask yourself, why? Because the county collect revenue, they should make sure that they implement the CBA that they did sign with these workers. Why is that not happening?
It boils down to leadership. Once you put in place the right leadership, then the functions will be undertaken. And one of the functions of a leader is management. And management requires that there's a proper team put in place to manage. And management comes with its morality, and ethics. In the absence of morals and ethics, management becomes a challenge. And I gather that Homa Bay collects a lot of money from its healthcare facilities. It is sad that this is not getting recouped into operations of the same facilities to the extent that we find their people, what is it called? Kunamigomo migomo.
Yeah.
So the people strike still. So I blame it on leadership and poor management.
So you say if we change the leadership, things will go at least better?
Not if we change the leadership, if we get the right leaders. Because you can change and change with a worse person. Still there's change, but there is nothing better. And this is why elections should go beyond the rituals of going and casting votes. I think it is important that today each and every community sits down and deliberate on the kind of leadership they want. So the first question ahead of election should be, what are we voting for? You see, every time people go to election, they ask, whom are we going to vote? That's a secondary question. The primary question should be, what are we voting for? And once you define what you are voting for, we should be voting for healthcare service provision. We should be voting for education, infrastructure development, unity of the people, and empowerment of the community. Then the secondary question now becomes, who among the contenders can deliver on these demands of the community?
That's good. And that is where we want to leave it. And thank you so much, Honorable, for coming for this conversation to help us unpack how we can utilize our resources, especially in Luo Nyanza, to make sure that we develop our people, both economically, politically, and socially. Thank you so much. Until next time, I am Emmanuel Huma.
It was my pleasure, Emmanuel.
Thank you so much.